Good afternoon, Lab Code agents. Josh Zollinger here. We've got Tristan Ahumada, Howard Tager, and the infamous Mark Kohler, CPA attorney, and good friend of mine. And just in kind of Mark's intro, and nobody knows I'm going to talk about this, but so when I've known Mark Kohler for over a decade and a half, and I remember going to his first presentation back in 2008, back in the depths of the Great Recession. Wow. And going and being a former public accountant, going to see Mark's ideas on how to save money, and know what? And things were a lot different back then. I went to Mark's presentation. I loved everything he had to say, but it was hard to find things applicable to me because you had to make money in order to save taxes. Today's presentation is going to be a lot different because what's happening now, things, no matter where you're at, Mark has information that is very important. So listen up. We did part one last week. We had a lot of people see that. If you haven't seen that, go back. But in this last week, I think a lot has changed as well, and would love to see what Mark has for us.
Well, thank you, Josh, for that awesome introduction. And if you see I'm multitasking here, is because, you know, I guess the encore always has to be better than the first, you know, part of the show. So I'm coming back with some slides that I think will help highlight the options and opportunities, because this is a lot of you that are seasoned realtors, agents, and small business owners. Sometimes the structure, it's been a rude awakening for a lot, going, ooh, all those corners I was cutting and some of my poor structuring is now going to kick me in the butt even further down the road. And so this will be a good opportunity for some of you to go, you know what, when the dust settles, I got to get this done, this done, and this done. So I want to make sure we can make sense of it all. Now, guys, who's going to be fielding some of the questions I can turn to? That's going to be our moderator.
All of us, all three of us will be fielding the questions as they come through. As you speak, we'll field them correctly so they kind of match what you're talking about.
Okay, cool. I'm going to share my screen on it. Like I said, a couple slides here. Now, let's get our juices flowing. Should we hit some base hits?
Yeah, should we start dancing first?
Oh, say again?
Should we start dancing first?
Yeah, I know. Guys, I'm seriously, this is my lunch, chocolate Twinkies and rock stars. That's what I've been living on. It's like insane. I'm not kidding. This is my lunch.
That's up our alley, Howard.
That's my guy. That's my guy. I'm gonna go grab some Pop-Tarts. I'll be right back.
Yeah. You know how much weight I've gained on this stupid pandemic quarantine. It's like, I used to be really in shape. Some of you are like, you don't drink that, you don't eat that. I do on quarantine.
That's why they call it the COVID-19.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, let's do this, everybody. If don't go anywhere, I want you to at least watch this presentation for the first 5 to 10 minutes to see if you're headed in the right direction. I'm going to take a wild leap of faith here that many are going to go, oh my gosh, I better watch this whole thing and grab a piece of paper, because I want to make sure you're on track for your stimulus package benefits and getting the most dollars in your bank you can. And then what you do once the dollars come, it's not uncommon for the government to give us something and then pull the carpet out from under us later, or, oh, there's some rules we didn't see on the front end. So I'm going to try to guide you through some of the things you need to be thinking about now so you can get the maximum amount forgiven or the best loan structure if you're going to keep some of this money and just pay it back.
Mark, really high level question came in for you. I think it's a good way to start, which was, she's like, you know, I went to the SBA site, but what do I need to go to my bank for? So if you could tell everybody, because you're going to be drilling down on all this stuff, but at the very highest level, what are they getting from the SBA? Where do they have to go through like state of employment? Where are they going directly to their bank and lender? Because people are even confused at that level. Where do they go for what?
Okay, all right. I'm going to lay out our 8 topics, and we may spend just a little time on some of these, but they've got to be out on all on the table. And it's like, just think of it like a buffet. And all of us want to go to the prime rib guy because, you know, he's cutting these big fat pieces of prime rib, and that's where you guys want to go. But you always got to stop at the salad bar on the way, or else you're going to miss something, right? So you got to, now here's the big one, and I like what Howard just said there. Let's lay this out. The 2 biggies that everybody's talking about, and I'm going to start with the most popular, but it doesn't mean you stop there. Okay, so obviously is this PPP, Payroll Protection Program. You're going to go to a bank for this, and there's no way around it. You got to go to the bank for your PPP. The next one that's the most popular is the EIDL, and I've got some updates on that issue, and that's going to go through SBA.gov, and you're going to go over there and do a quick application, which we can talk about here, and just kind of get, for some of you that haven't done that yet, you may have some follow-up questions. Then we're going to talk about unemployment. Some people are like, it's a total bath. I've just got to go on unemployment, and you may get more on unemployment than doing one of these other two, or a little combination of all three. See, there's some, and some of you may have a spouse on payroll or kids. We need to talk about that. Also, your stimulus checks. They were supposed to be going out today. As I heard of someone getting their first check on, or their first online wire transfer deposit on Friday. Have any of you guys seen any money coming yet on that 10 grand stimulus check? 1,200, 2,400 kids? Anybody?
I haven't seen any. I think, did Long get his? He was saying he got one, right? Or he got his loan approved.
That's different. So that's Long's
PPP.
really, talking about the PPP.
Okay.
That's a little different.
All right. Okay. So I'm still waiting for people to go, I got my money in the bank on my stimulus check.
Okay, so we do have someone that chimed in that they got theirs, and then someone else's kid got theirs. So,
okay.
So some of that smaller stuff's coming in.
Okay, and I'm going to tell you guys how to make sure if you're not getting your check, you're like, why am I not getting my check? There's some things you may need to do. The IRS just released a new website on Friday last week where you can go update your information, so you might be able to get your stimulus wire transfer faster than a paper check. So we'll go through that. Then we got to talk about these SBA loans that are being forbeared. Some of you, since your followers are all real estate, some of you are already be sitting on an SBA loan. So we got to talk about SBA loan forbearance for just a moment. And then retirement accounts. Should we tackle any money, tap into any money on our retirement account? What are our options? Is it a good move, a bad move? What do I have to do if I want to give it back? Can I borrow from my 401k, IRA? How do I do it? So we could hit some of that if you guys want. And then finally, we've got this emergency paid sick leave and Family Medical Leave Act. Now, just to wet your whistle, everybody, before you decide to go anywhere, these 8 strategies, I knocked out 6 of them for a client last week on Thursday, got him $229,000 of forgiven free money with 6 out of the 8. Now, give or take 10 grand, we're playing around with EIDL, which is still a big question mark. No one's seen their EIDL checks yet. Some people have seen some emails. So, but there's people out there getting some big money. And so it's not just, everybody want to focus on PPP. Whoa. I had a client that said, you know what? I'm going to put my spouse on unemployment. It was a good fit. Another client said, well, I can't put my spouse on unemployment, but I'm going to give him or her the emergency paid sick leave or family medical leave, which could be up to 15 grand. And so there's just all sorts of goodies in here. So sit back, grab a piece of paper and a pen. I'm going to field questions from our awesome lab coats following. And these guys, these leaders of yours have done a great job leading the way. Howard is ready to take the bar exam. He has studied this so in depth. He's like, I'm doing it.
I was a poli-sci major, but I've been avoiding the legal trade for about 30 years.
Yeah, you're one step away, All right, yeah, the Stimulus CARES Act is a gateway drug to law school. So, we'll see what goes. Okay, so Tristan, you're my man. You tell me, Mark. I want you to break down a couple of these more in depth, or I want you to go here and there, and then
we'll pause you, but
whatever you want.
I love that you're starting with PPP. So get right into that one. That one's the key.
Okay, now I did a slide on this. Okay, let's do the basics and then I'll give you a slide, because some people see the slide and go, so just hang tight. Now, if we want to contrast, and I think it's really helpful to do this, let's contrast the PPP and the EIDL. And I think that makes a sense for a lot of people. So all of you should at least, bare minimum, I don't care if you're a rental property owner with a day job, or you're a full-time realtor, you're a full-time small business owner and a rental, you could, all the above. And I'll show you a diagram where you can see some options here. I want everybody to at least go apply for the EIDL. Now what the EIDL is the emergency loan, the emergency injury disaster loan. and economic injury disaster loan. There's so many different acronyms, I'm going crazy. So economic injury disaster loan. So you're going to go there and there's an A and there's a B. The A is you can automatically apply and ask for $10,000. Now keep in mind, it's up to $10,000. It's a grant. It's supposed to be forgiven if you use it for rent, payroll, fixed debt obligations. If you're a landlord with a tenant that hasn't paid their rent, that 10 grand could help offset some mortgage payments, things like that. You have to apply online. That's the front door. And if you get through this front door, then you can get over to B. You can't get to B without going through A. And then once the SBA emails you, then you can apply up to B, which is $2,200,000 with no collateral, no personal guarantee, 3.75, 30-year fixed. Now, before you get too excited, I have not met anybody that's been able to get that loan approved yet. And some people are getting emails from the SBA that says, well, you can get your 10 grand, but we're only going to give out up to 15 grand right now because we've been inundated with requests. We don't have enough money. So that 200K, maybe, we'll see. So you have to do A. You may get an application opportunity for B. This is going to be this is an opportunity all through December 31st, 2020. We've got Congress on the floor right now debating what the freak they're going to give us more. So this is going to be an ongoing battle. It's not like, oh, I did my webinar on PPP and EIDL, I'm done. No, you're the captain of your ship. You got to follow this. And Lab Coat's here. They're going to keep you up to date. Maybe I'll be back again off and on throughout the process, and I hope to build a relationship with you. But that's EIDL. Now, let me get PPP on the table. We'll do some Q&A. So you guys grab your favorite questions there. Now, PPP, you can do it at the same time. You can have both. You got to go to a bank. And the banks, as many of you in real estate know, on your face, you're like, oh, I love you, banker. And then you want to have a dartboard of their face on the wall at home because you hate bankers. I know. They move so slow. This whole loan is freaking them out. They're in a corner in the basement, sucking their thumb at night going, I got to get personal guarantees. I've got to get collateral. And they're freaking out. So banks are all over the board on what they're asking for. Some banks are a pain in the butt. Some are streamlined. Some are saying, I won't deal with anybody but our own clients. Some are like, we'll take you all. Do not feel captive. You should feel like you can shop and find a banker that'll take you. And if they're a pain in the butt, we told the banker, either you make this easier or we're going somewhere else. And we're going to the next bank. The most accommodating are the local banks and the credit unions with SBA loan officers because they want the new clients. The big banks are a monstrosity and who knows. So you have to go to a bank.
Mark, I really got to emphasize that point. This is a bringing super value to the entire community. I know it gives you a chance to have your chocolate Twinkie, but I have learned that in this last week, guys, the big banks are so slow. It's such a problem. And the smaller banks, the community banks, they are loving it because they are seeing the regional banks, small regional banks, the community banks, they see this as I've talked to them. I just literally, Mark, on Friday, I talked to the CEO of a smaller bank in Minnesota, right? CEO, and he's like, this is great. Oh my God, we're going to pick up so much business from Wells Fargo. We're taking it. We're taking it. Well, we want to do these. We're going to get them through as fast as we can. They're
agile. They're easy to work with. And you know what? I had a banking referral through Seattle, Washington, like out in Snoqualmie, just a small little community bank. Last year, they did a total of 374 loans, right? Just a small bank. Last week, they did 375. And those are all new clients, so they're loving it. Okay, now, Tristan, before you ask the next question, let me say this. So you go to a bank. It's a 2-page application. And on the face of it, Congress and the SBA tried to make it so easy, but the banks are going to try and screw it up. Some are asking for financials and tax returns and this and that. But the basic thing is, you're going to have to, and I'm going to do a little chart. If you're an S-Corp owner with a W-2, an S-Corp owner without a W-2, and a sole proprietor or an LLC, I'm going to give you the general equation. But I don't want you to get mad at me and go, Mark, your equation's wrong. Da-da-da. Okay, these banks, I've gone to the same bank and had them do the equation 2 different ways because the client pushed them. So you want to know what the general equation is, And also getting the most money may not be in your best interest because it could be harder to get forgiven all of it later. So we don't want to just drop this in our operational account and think, oh, this is great, I'm going to pay for all this crap. Whatever you don't get forgiven is at 1%, 2 years, which I know sounds great. But if you don't hit a 75% threshold on the spend down the way they want it, and I'll go through the numbers here in a minute, but if you miss that 75%, none of it's forgiven. Now, all of a sudden, you're stuck with a 200 grand loan, 100 grand, 20 grand, 50 grand. It's a loan. So you want to follow the rules and be up to speed on this. So you don't go spend it on something stupid like a new copy machine, and then it doesn't get forgiven. You got to be careful. So that's the bank. Here's the general numbers, just so everybody, and then Tristan, I'm coming to you. The general numbers is you take your payroll or your net income for 2019, which has to be verified to some degree. That's the only hard part. Then whatever that total is, you take that total, and there's some pluses and minuses that I'll go through. And then you take the total, you divide it by 12, you multiply it by 2.5, there's your freaking PPP. I've had clients getting 20 grand up to 800 grand, everywhere in between. And it's all based on your payroll or net income. That's it. And then you got 8 weeks to spend the thing the way they want you to. And then at the end of the 8 weeks, you're going to go back to the same bank and you're going to say, forgive it. And you're going to have to provide documentation that proves you spent it the way the government said. And we're still trying to figure out what the spend down looks like. Still, they haven't even barely got the money out the door. You think they know the back end yet? Not even close. So I've got some recommendations on how to be careful about it. There you go. So that's the PPP and the EIDL. All of you should be going for it. And then we can tackle these other 6 like desserts on a tray at the buffet table.
I love that. So
The most common question, maybe, I'm sorry, Tristan, if you were going to.
I was just going to say, guys, part 1 to this, I'm putting the link up there. I know a lot of you were asking for it. It's on Lab Coat Agents. We've already had 7,000 views on it. So go ahead and click and subscribe. We'll also upload this copy that's being recorded. We'll upload it there as well. So sorry, Howard, just wanted to add that in there.
Yeah, so 2 things. So the most common question, I'm going through all the questions. We can't answer every question specifically, Mark, is so a lot of people on this call are independent contractors. Okay. They don't have a business banking relationship with their bank. There may be that they're not an S Corp, maybe that they're not an LLC. This is the number one question I'm seeing right now. They want to know, can they still get a PPP and how to do that?
Okay, yes, you can. All right. This is a deep dive on how to get it. Let me hit a couple other easier ones real quick that I saw flying through too, if that's okay, Howard, because once we deep dive, some of you are your brains will explode, but staying with me, I'll bring you back, people, I'll bring you back. A couple basics are, you can get the EIDL and the PPP. Now let's just say hypothetically, you get 100 grand. Let's just say you get 100 grand on a PPP. I'd probably say that's average. Most of you sole proprietors and S Corp owners, you're gonna get about 21 grand. That's going to be your max for a basic S Corp. So you're going to get this 100 grand, let's say, as an average. And over here, you get an EIDL and you've got one business. So this one business, and you could be a sole proprietor. You could just be a basic LLC. I'm okay with that. And you got both. You got both the EIDL and the PPP. What they're saying is on the back end, when you go to get this 100 grand forgiven, they're going to subtract the EIDL if you got it. Fine. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. So now, you know, they're going to say you don't get 100, the EIDL reduces the amount forgiven. So you can only get 90 grand forgiven. So the remaining 10 will be at 1%. So they're going to pick up the EIDL on the back end of the PPP. So if you get 100 grand on PPP, you get the EIDL. That's cool. On the back end, you're only going to get 90 forgiven. So you're going to have to pay that 10 grand back. Now, what we're telling clients, this is the biggest thing. When you get this money, open a separate bank account. Just open a separate bank account. Don't just drop this in your operational account. It's going to go every which way. Your bookkeeping, and I know you realtors, you are awesome on your feet. You're awesome on a phone call. You can walk and chew gum. Us CPAs, we can't even mix and mingle in a freaking dinner party. We're terrible at it. You rock it. But when it comes times to bookkeeping, I know you people, you're going to jack this up. Don't throw it all in your operational account. Have a separate bank account, put the money there, and then distribute it and have good records of where you're putting the money. If you don't spend all the money on what they allow to be forgiven, you can give it back.
Can some of that money that you're using be for March's payroll or anything having to do with March when this started, or does it have to be from now forward?
It has to be from the minute you get the money. My banker said, Mark, on this next round, if you signed loan docs at 1 o'clock, he goes, the money's going into your account at 5 today. I'm getting the money within 4 hours. Then I have that payroll. So Tristan, this week I have payroll. I'm dropping it in. I'm going to use it for this week's payroll. So even though it was for the last 2 weeks' work, it's this payroll. So you have 8 weeks to spend it. Now,
does it have to be dropped into a business account, or is it a specific account that you can do other than that?
well, okay, let me tell you the technical answer here. You can put this money in your freaking mattress. You can put it in your personal account. You can put it in your 12-year-old's bank account. On a technical issue, really, it doesn't matter where you put the money. What matters is on the back end, proving where you spent it. You got to show it was specifically to payroll, which means you normally do payroll at the end of the year or quarterly. You're going to have to cut yourself a payroll check in that 8 weeks and be on it, Johnny on the spot. And I'll give you the 75% rule here in a minute, but you got to spend it on the crap they allow. Document it. So practically speaking, even though technically you can put the money wherever the hell you want, practically put it in a separate account. Treat it like sacred freaking money. And then distribute it out, get through the 8 weeks, get it forgiven what you can. Whatever you can't get forgiven, then you can look at that bank account and go, I might keep that and use it. What's the interest rate going to be? Or take it back, bank, I'm good. So just don't go spend it all, Harry Carey. That's the scary part.
All right. Howard's got a good little chart there going. Howard, you're muted, so you have to unmute yourself. Let me unmute you, Howard.
Does that look backwards?
No, it looks perfect. 10 weeks payroll. Good.
Okay. So what I'm just saying is, just to make it really simple, is like, I'll use my own example. Okay.
Yeah, I like it.
So basically, you'll see the loan calculation amount. You'll see it at 250%. You'll see it at 2.5 times your monthly payroll from last year. At the end of the day, I think Mark will agree, you're roughly talking about 10 weeks. Okay. And that's how my loan is going to be calculated. So let's say that's my total loan amount. My forgiveness starts, as Mark said, the day I get my loan, and it's going to be 8 weeks going forward. So theoretically, my forgiveness amount theoretically is only 80% of the amount that I got. But here's the kicker. You can top it off on the 8 weeks forward with what you paid on mortgage. More importantly, I should say rent or mortgage
or people, your own SEP or 401k contribution, because retirement plan contributions count too.
Yep. And utilities. Okay. So I know from my own business that although it's only 8 weeks, I got to use 10 for my loan amount, bigger number, but it's 8 weeks I get to use for the forgiveness amount. So it's a smaller number. I then can add and say, well, I also used this money to cover my utilities, rent or mortgage, plus my 8 weeks payroll. So I will personally get 100% forgiven. Matter of fact, we personally don't even need this stuff because my payroll has actually grown, not going back from the last quarter that it's being calculated. I don't want to complicate things.
Tristan, I love this freaking diagram. I give you an A+ for your first semester of law school, since we know you're enrolling after this.
Howard.
Did I say Tristan? Howard, sorry. I know you, Howard, sorry. Yeah, Howard, this is your first semester of law school. You just passed. Now I've got a third option. I like what you did, but let me show you 3. Okay. Now here's the 75% rule. And this is the part that's going to freak some people out. And Howard, we were on a webinar with the AICPA and one of the SBA administrators on Friday for 2 hours. They still didn't have the freaking answer. When you go to get your PPP amount, I'm going to show you a diagram, but I just want to get the basics out there. PPP amount is box 2 of your 941. Now, for you that are small business owners, we're going to talk net income here. But here's the hard part. It's box 2 of payroll, your net income, whatever. Now, when they give you this number, you get to add to it retirement, health insurance premiums. You get to add to it retirement payments on the behalf of your employees. So if for those out there that have a solo 401k, what you put in your 401k gets to increase the amount plus SUTA. Now, what's forgiven? It's this amount. Let's call this X. You'd say, well, if I got X, I spend the same here, that's going to be forgiven. They want to subtract some FICA. So you're going to have, they'll give you the money on the front end, box 2. But on the back, the employer's FICA, which is 7.5%.
Okay.
The employer's FICA is not going to be part of that calculation. So we've got FICA. So you may get 100 grand here, but you take 0.75 out of that, that's 7,500 that would not be forgiven. So you've got to say, am I going to be able to make it up over here?
Yeah.
And so that's why you want to keep the money in the bank and go, I might, and just don't, if you're like, ooh, I got payroll covered, this is extra profit in my personal account. Well, you might have to pay for your own FICA as an employer. Even though they gave it to you on the front, you may not get it forgiven on the back. And the second problem is you've got this amount has to be 75% of the same amount and at least, and 75% the same number of employees. Now, let me give an example. Let's say Tristan's got his wife on payroll. They are the only 2 on payroll in their S corp. They do the math, they get 40 grand and change. That's cool. Then his wife says, oh, I'm going to go on unemployment. So Tristan fires his wife, which I've got clients doing this. Their spouse is going on unemployment, but the PPP is calculated on both of their payroll last year. Now we go to get forgiven. You can't pay your spouse because she's on or he's on unemployment, and you drop below 75% of the number of employees. Now you get nothing forgiven, nothing. So you've got this 75% of the same pay has to be covered here, and 75% of the number of employees have to be here. So that answers looking at all these ticky-tacks.
That answers a couple of questions. I just want you to repeat that, Mark, only because I know that it touches on a few of these questions. That was, can I apply for everything? Well, there you go. If you apply for unemployment and PPP, this is what happens. And I want Mark, if you could repeat that so people can understand.
I also think, guys, look, I just telling you, like 90% of these questions, or a lot of them, are still on, I'm an independent contractor, I'm a sole proprietor, I don't have a business account, I got people that work for me that are 1099 people. Like, we're just not answering that part yet.
Please, I'm going, everybody, I'm going there right here in 2 seconds. I'm going there in 2 seconds. But, and let me say this so you're not freaking out. As an independent contractor, you're going to get the money. But these same issues of what's forgiven or not apply to you as well. Yeah. So you just can't say, oh, I'm an independent contractor, this is the W-2 people. No, you're going to have to pay yourself the same 75% or more and can maintain the same number of employees, 75% or more. Okay, so the amount forgiven, I'm just going to repeat this. Let's say you get 100 grand in your PPP amount. Then you go spend it in the 8 weeks. You would think the same equation that gave you the 100 grand would be the same amount forgiven, but you've got this F word in the middle. FICA, what the FICA? Because as you match the employee's paycheck, you get the amount here, but you may not get it forgiven. So they're going to subtract FICA. We don't know if it's the employer's portion or the employer and the employee's portion. We know withholding should be forgiven, retirement account contributions should be, and health insurance premiums. That's all part of the payroll amount. This has brought me to the number 3 box, Howard, that I throw out. What I'm going to maybe do in my number 3, I might give out some bonuses, or I might give out a raise to myself, and I'm going to pay myself more so that I make sure I get all of that forgiven. I'd rather have it forgiven and make sure, because if I have to subtract FICA out here, I might have to increase my payroll on myself to get it forgiven because I've got to hit that 75% level. So it's going to be tricky, people. You just don't want to take the money and go, oh, it's all going to happen okay. You could get totally jacked on the back end. And what do you think the government wants to do?
Here's one from near and dear to your heart, Mark. Can someone apply for this from different business accounts? I mean, you get more than one loan on each business account.
Yes. Okay. Now, for independent contractors, I'm going to put a diagram on my screen, and then we're going to go through the independent contractor question. And so here we go. I'm going to share my screen.
Mark, as you're doing that diagram, can you give me your phone number for people who want to reach out to you, just so I can type it in?
There are some people who are like, this is like, too much. I'm already too complex. I just need to talk to someone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
You bet. Here it is too, and I'll write this up here. 435-586-9366. Now, let's take a breath. Okay, everybody, before you drop off, let's take a breath. Our appointments we have 5 tax attorneys in our office. We're booking them out at a discount than their normal rate because we were trying to help so many people. And I want to say this too. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I just had a ting of emotion. I know so many of you are struggling out there, and this is scary. And I'm a little older. I've been through 9/11. I was here during the 07-08 crash, and I remember losing some real estate in 07-08. And I thought I had my shiz together as a tax lawyer, and I was all good. People, don't feel alone. Don't feel picked on. Don't feel like a loser or a failure. This has blindsided all of us. Coming out on these webinars is what you've got to do to feel like you're a part of this lab coat community. You're not alone. You're going to get through it. And we're all hurting. This is a freaking nightmare. But you stay strong. You be careful. You'll come back. It's going to be okay. Now, the one thing why I bring this up, before you just call my office, we might be out a week or week and a half. But guys, this is not changing. Congress is already on phase 2. There's going to be things happening after the PPP forgiveness. I might be popping you on unemployment or who knows what after the PPP. We don't know how long this is going to last. Make the appointment. But this is what we're telling everybody. We're sending emails to our clients that have a scheduled appointment. Okay, here it is. Take a breath, everybody. Still, go apply for the PPP. Go apply for the EIDL. Get your appointment with whoever your professional is, and go in prepared to hopefully get 2 or 3 or 4 other benefits. But you've got to get in line with a banker. Their equation, I'm going to show it to you here in a minute. You can watch this recording over and over again. Know your equation generally, and then you can go apply for the PPP, because you may not get the money for another 7 days, 10 days anyway. We'll be there for you, or whoever your professional is. So if some of you are like, this is way too much for me, take a breath. Find that banker, get your PPP app in, go on SBA.gov, apply for your EIDL, get an appointment, conserve your money, be careful. Tristan, Howard, any comments on that? Just kind of let's bring it down a notch comment.
The smaller the bank, the more important you are to them. They want to develop your relationship. You're going to get more time from them. If you're overwhelmed, they're doing a ton of this stuff, even the small banks. The banks are experts, so they can help you with the PPP stuff. That's what I want to say. Mark, I wanted to ask, I get questioned all the time, like panic clients, like, Howard, I got to get it in, and I'm afraid the money's going to run out, right? And what I tell them, I want to make sure, that you're telling your folks the same thing or something different. I tell them, look, there's still a lot of money in this program. And the other thing is that, if they hit their 356 billion or whatever it is, the portion of the 2 trillion for PPP, my gut is that they are going to get more funds through. That this is a very, very popular program on both sides of the aisle and with the president. They're going to keep this coming. And that's the thing I haven't talked to anyone about, Mark, is the forgiveness portion. And it's just a theory, which is very, very possible, because you and I know what a cluster this is, just getting the funds out. They're not going to catch up on the forgiveness part. How are they going to get that machine together?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And who knows, Mark? They could say at some point, "Hey, man, we're gonna you've been in once. We're gonna let you go in again." Like, we don't know.
Yep. Okay. Now I'm seeing the comments. People, 1099 people. Here we go. Okay. Here's a diagram, and we're going to come back to this just so that you don't get frustrated. These are my kind of real estate professional advanced. They've got maybe a brokerage. They've got a little S Corp going. There may be other S Corp realtors in their brokerage. We're going to get an idle PPP up here. We're going to get an idle PPP down here. And this is where we work from with our realtors that have been around 3 to 5 or 10 years, and they're starting to make 50 grand to 100 grand. This is not for rich realtors. You're making more than 50 grand, you're in this bucket, and I can save you thousands. Then you have your trifecta of your living trust at the bottom. We're funding retirement accounts for you, your family members. I don't even have kids on this equation. Then you've got your rental property, and this is going to be an idle over here. We're going to have an idle over here for maybe your self-directed LLC. Your insurance, investment accounts, and home all goes down into your trust. That's the general structure. Now, I know some of you. Now, this is a really good little diagram here that I can pop out here. I just want to throw this out. Okay. In this diagram, many of you are just right over here, and you're like, Mark, I don't have all that crap. Sorry, I want to go back here. Okay, hang with me. This is good. I teach this all the time. I know you guys are going to love this. Okay, a lot of people out there are like, Mark, I don't have all this crap. I might be doing a little fix and flip, but I've got commissions coming in. I don't have partners. I'm on my own, and I've just a basic 1099. And maybe you have an LLC. Okay, this is for you. This next time, we're going to stay the rest of the time here. You got your 1099, and you're bringing it in to maybe just a little LLC, and you're a sole prop. And what a sole prop means is you've got your money going in onto a Schedule C. So this is kind of the typical brand new start realtor. Then they're going to graduate to the more S Corp structure. But right here, you're taking your draws, and the problem is you're paying a lot in FICA, but that's okay. And this is kind of your profit down here. In fact, I'm not even going to put draws up there. I'm just going to put you're taking profit, right, people? You just got your profit down here.
Mark, just so everybody understands, this is what you're drawing out right now is what the majority of real estate agents are right there.
Yep.
So pay attention, guys. Do yourself a favor also. Take a little snapshot out as he's drawing it so you understand what it looks like, because this, I think over 90% of this is what real estate agents are.
Yeah. And I'll say this is 90% of your agents before they make their first 50 to 60 grand net. Some of you are like, well, Mark, I'm making 100 grand this year. You got problems. We got to talk. So this is your kind of wake up call to go, I better get more organized for next time. Okay. So this is your basic, and I'm going to put, this is the starting point for so many realtors. LLC.
Mark, really quick, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you on this one because a lot of people are coming in and saying, we don't have an LLC, we just do 1099 to ourselves.
Okay, that's cool. I'll put LLC or not.
Perfect.
It's okay. So, and some of you are like, Mark, I don't even have a business bank account. That's cool. Okay, you could be doing freaking Uber driving. You could be doing selling crap on eBay. You could be doing a lot of different things. It all goes into the same bucket. Uber, drywall, eBay, Etsy. You're doing a little of everything. That's totally cool.
Cards, comic books.
Yep. We're doing all this. And people, this is very, very common. And if so, we're okay. Now, I'll just be honest, you don't feel beat up. If you're not making net, now this is proof, this is very, very important. Net profit, whatever your net is after all these expenses. And I want to get you guys excited. I'm trying to write off travel, dining, home office, electronics, auto. I want to write off kids, spouse. We're going to be doing all sorts of little things to write this off. I've got like my top 10 write-offs. Yeah, we'll come on another day after that. But this is all here. Whatever your net is what we're using for PPP. And if you come see me or one of my tax lawyers, we charge like $800 for an entity around the country. Get an hour with an insurance. It doesn't have to be expensive. We have a fix-up service after you go to LegalZoom and jack it up. But if you come over to us, we're going to set up an LLC or a corp once you're making 60 grand or more net. In fact,
why would somebody want to do that versus just remaining at 1099?
Okay, this is good, everybody. This is a good step back just to hear. I'm going to do a second slide. For those of you that are sole prop, I'm even going to go there without an LLC. If you're, well, whoa, no, back up. We're going to leave that alone. Okay. Whether you're an LLC or a sole prop, they don't save taxes. What happens is you pay self-employment tax. You know what? Back up. This is good. I know what I'm doing here. Okay. Get back to my board. You're going to love this, people.
Perfect.
Okay. This is good. Don't go anywhere. And I'm looking. Numbers are strong. You're staying here with me. I love you. Okay.
We haven't lost anybody.
Yeah, you guys are good. Okay. Your first option when you're a brand new realtor, I'm going to bring this back to PPP. I got you, people. I got you. Okay. Here's your sole prop. You just go out. You're a brand new realtor. You're selling crap on eBay or Etsy or a website. You're getting your 1099. You're out rocking. Let's say you bring in 50 grand. That's cool. 4 to 5,000 a month. But you spend, on expenses, we come up with like 30 grand. So we come up with all sorts of write-offs, travel, auto, home office, all sorts of good, dining. I mean, I'm writing off everything under the sun, and I got a list, people. I freaking love getting tax write-offs. And then you net 20 grand. Okay. Well, the first expense you're going to have is what's called self-employment tax, or the F word, FICA. So you got to pay 15.3% on this 20 grand. Well, damn it. Okay. So that's $3,500. Man. Oh, wow. 10% is 2 plus that's 3 grand. So I'm going to pay 3 grand in SE tax. And that sucks. Then you pay your state and you pay your Fed. Now for my clients in this boat, that's okay. That's what we do. It's a cost of doing business. You're going to pay your fair share to SUTA, FUTA, FICA, and you're going to be out of the way. That's fine. And then you're going to pay your self-employment tax. But here's the problem. Let's say you're a sole proprietor. Now you bring in 100 grand. Now you've got the same 30 grand in expenses, because as a realtor, you just get a few more closings. It's not like your expenses go through the roof. So you're going to net 70 now. Oh no. Now I've got 15.3% off the top. Holy crap. That's over $10,000 in SE tax, FICA. And then I got to pay my state and my Fed. And this is what blindsides this realtor that goes to being successful realtor. And it blindsides them. So what I try to do is these clients that see it coming, where we want to be, I'll give you how we get there, is we want to be in an S Corp. And I know that all these guys on the line with us are S Corps today. And what they do is bring in the same 100 grand, spend the same 30 grand on expenses, and they net 70. But what we do is we may take a third of that as payroll and the other 2/3 as a K1 or a draw. It's easy. You don't have to write yourself a freaking paycheck. You don't have to hire accountants for thousands and thousands of dollars. It's just you're going to launder the money. Sorry, you're going to clean the money. You're going to clean the money through an S Corp. So it comes through here, and I take a little W-2. And in this example, I might take, now I'm being a little aggressive on this, but I'm going to be more moderate. This is what I do on your tax return. And we've been doing this for 20 years, Howard and Tristan. I've never had a client audited for taking too little in payroll. I've got the Kohler payroll matrix. It's all over entrepreneur.com in my books. I stand behind it. If you get audited and your accountant's going, Mark Kohler is way too aggressive. If you get audited, we'll pay the bill. In 20 years following this mechanism, we've never had a problem. So you net 70, you're going to take, let's take 30 as payroll, and we're going to take 40 as dividend. And it's really all kind of we might even call it a draw, but look at people, when you convert to an S Corp on this 40, there's no FICA, no corporate tax, no Obama. And what you get, no Obamacare, which still exists, and you get the 199A deduction of 20% on whatever your net is. So I'm just going to save 15% on 40 grand. People, that's 6K. I just saved you 6 grand. And I know some of you are in California going, well, a corporation is $800 and then I got to do a tax return. I'm going to be out 2 grand. And you will, people, especially in California. Everyone else, probably 1,500 or so. But you're going to be out a couple grand doing a freaking S Corp. Well, let me do the math. Okay, help me out here. 2 grand versus 6 grand. All right. Now, this is hard math. Spend 2, save 6. So, in summary, why I want all of you over to this diagram in the long run is I want you to try to be getting into this out of this little sole proprietor, and because you're paying all this self-employment tax. And so what we want to do is graduate you into this this more advanced structure where you're an S corp. Now you're taking a salary. Okay, now that answers Tristan's question.
Yes.
But everybody's dying here. How do we go get the PPP? Is that okay? Do I go there? Okay.
That's
everybody
perfect.
hang tight. I got you. I got to go over here. Okay, now here's my PPP diagram. Okay, I'm going to put it big so everybody can see it well. Okay.
Guys, take a picture of this too if you can. This way you can refer back to it.
Yep, this is good. Okay. These are my S corp people. I'll come back to this. But all of you that are a single member LLC or a sole prop, your first step, you're going to hate this, but I'm just telling you, you're going to need to file your 2019 1040 because they got to know what's on your Schedule C. Remember the net, the 30 grand, the 40 grand, the 20, whatever that net is, that's the PPP. We take your Schedule C plus your health insurance premiums for those of you that paid it, plus anything you may have popped into a SEP, that's a self-employed pension like an IRA. We divide it by 12, we multiply it by 2.5. Now, one of the things in here, and I'm going to type it in here because I should have it in here, get over here, is on this diagram. Sorry, I'm having a hard time getting around. Okay, on this diagram, you can only show there's a limit of 100 grand in profit. So if you made over 100 grand, your PPP is capped at 100 grand of net income. So the math on that ends up, to be honest, so you know, you take the 100 grand, divide it by 12, multiply by 2.5, it's about 20,800 bucks. Boom. So you're going to get 20 grand of free money, and 20 grand of free money sounds good to me. So all of you, you get your 2019 1040 Schedule C done as quick as possible. Then you go to the bank, you show them it. They're going to freaking do the math. It's a 2-page application. I got it sitting right here. It's a 2-page app. You give it to the freaking banker. And then within 10 days, I've had some people get it within 6 days. It's approved by the SBA. You get your money. Then guess who you're going to pay the 20 grand? You're going to pay you. You're going to pay you. Forgiven. Done. That's what we're shooting for. So this little chart, if you're a single member LLC or a sole prop, that's what you're going to do. You're just, and go freaking get on TaxSlayer or TurboTax. Go see your accountant. My accounting firm, we're swamped. We're turning around these tax returns as fast as we can. S Corp, I'll still come back to you people, but that's the basic diagram. What do you guys think?
The biggest thing is again, it's most people here are 1099 folks.
Yep.
They just want to know if they're 1099 because they're getting different information. What we're hearing on this chat, they're getting different information from their banks. Their banks are telling them, oh, you don't have a business. You're just a 1099 person. And these people are really confused as to what to do. Let's say somebody made $80,000, $90,000, $100,000, $120,000 last year. They want to know, right?
Okay, let me answer this. Howard, please, let me interject. Okay, everybody take a breath. We've still got, everybody's here. Okay, hang tight. You're a 1099 employee. Oh, I almost said employee. You're a 1099 subcontractor. You're an agent, small business, whatever. Here's your 1040. A schedule on that is called the Schedule C. The banker, if your banker says you're not a small business owner, freaking go to a different bank. They're idiots. But your 1099 is the income. Then you're going to write off all your expenses, and that's your net. And you're going to pay self-employment tax. Whatever that net is, that comes over onto the front page of your 1040. Then we take a few more write-offs, and that gives us our AGI. Now, this is important, everybody. The PPP is not on your 1099. The PPP is not on your AGI. The PPP is not on the total of your 1099s. The PPP is on this number. And you take that net, whatever the hell it is, and you're going to take this net and you're going to divide it by 12, and multiply it by 2.5. That is your PPP. There you go. Go to the bank.
That is beautiful. Do you by any chance have a slide of that or anything that you can share with us, and I'll send it out to everybody?
I'll create one. I'll create one.
Because your last video got like almost 8,000 views in just a week on YouTube. Besides the 46,000 we got on Facebook. So guys, this is being recorded. And I'll put up the link again so you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are going to put this up there. This way you can rewind it, pause it. And if you have questions for Mark, put up his number up there. But Mark, do you have an email address or a website that we can go to?
Now, by the way, everybody, I do a weekly newsletter tonight on Monday night. I'll be up until midnight doing my weekly newsletter. I'm going to be including links to all of the articles my partners and I have written, my YouTube vids, just extra ways you can learn this. So get over to my website and sign up for the newsletter, markjkohler.com. And it comes with an ebook of my top 10 ways to save taxes as a small business owner. You'll freaking love it. 30 pages through some of this other stuff I talk about. And I do a weekly newsletter that's free. I got a podcast every week. We've been doing 10 years. And blog articles, YouTube channel. And if you can drink a little of my Kool-Aid, I'll freaking save you every time. I promise. And you don't have to fire your accountant. You don't have to fire your attorney. But if they're not up to speed on this, it's time to upgrade. And
there's a lot of folks, Mark, there's a lot of folks asking if they haven't done their 2019 returns, can they use 2018?
No. You cannot use your 18. Because see, the PPP program says
one question was about PPP and someone else was about PPP and idle, and they're all asking about, like, do you have to use 19 or can you use 18?
Okay. Let's do this. With idle, just so it's up here on the board, versus PPP, no 2019 return required. Now I'm going to come to a little update on this one right here. But the PPP, they said it's based on your last 12 months. Because it's called the Payroll Protection Program. We want to help people out working. We don't know what the hell you were doing in 18. We don't care about 18. We care what you were doing in the last 12 months. And if your business came down and stopped, why are we going to give you a payroll protection program? This is not utility bill protection program or rent protection program. This is payroll protection program. So the last 12 months. So you've got to go get your 1040 done right away. And if you go to the bank, and let me warn you, I know this is going to happen. Someone's going to go to their banker, and some bonehead banker in Duluth, somewhere, they're going to go in and they're going to give the banker the 1099s. And they're going to say, that's it. That's my income. They're going to divide it by 12, multiply it by 2.5. Then you're going to go out and do business, and you're not going to be able to pay yourself the same amount you got. And you're going to get stuck with a loan, and you're going to be freaking out. And you go, I thought it was to be forgiven. Well, you gave the banker the wrong freaking number. This is why bankers are freaking out. They're like, we've never done a 2-page app for a $100,000 loan in our lives. This is why they're freaking out. And so they know there's going to be fraud. There's going to be people trying to screw the system. Yep. And they're scared to death because if the government doesn't forgive it, they're stuck with a loan for 1%. What bank wants a loan for 1%? So you got to be on top of this.
Okay, Mark, somebody wants you to talk about unemployment briefly. How do you feel about that?
Okay, good. And let me even update on idle. This is a vicious rumor out on the web. It came from an SBA director in Massachusetts. He said, now this was an internal Zoom call at the SBA. Everybody's trying to figure out where this came from. There's no official news conference from the SBA or Congress yet, but they're saying this 10 grand, they're going to change it to 1 grand per employee. That would be a freaking nightmare because all of you people that have rental properties like me in an LLC, you don't have payroll. I don't have payroll. It's a freaking rental property. If they get rid of the 10 grand idle and my tenants aren't paying their rent, you're stuck with an Airbnb or a VRBO and you're like, what the freak? I need that 10 grand. I may even want part B and get a bigger loan so I can save my rental. I got some equity in it. Just give me the freaking loan. SBA is screwing this up. And I've had people say, where you smell smoke, there's fire. Who knows? So you got to follow the news. My newsletter will keep you up to date. And I'm sure here at Lab Coats, they'll tell you too.
Mark, a quick question on EPSLs and FMLAs. Anything you can touch on with that?
Yes, yes. Okay. So people, let's say you deal with the PPP, you deal with the EIDL. All right, let's move on. Unemployment. When it comes to unemployment, and I'll be this is really direct, everybody. When it comes to unemployment, there's two options. Option one, you had a complete wipeout. You're done. You made money last year. You don't see making any money in the next 4 months. No closings, nothing. And you can't go get a job. There's no job in your particular area. I'm going to recommend don't do the PPP. Just go claim unemployment on yourself. But if you get a closing in a month, you jacked up your unemployment, because once you get a closing, you can't be unemployed. And if you're going to keep working your business, go get the PPP. But for some of you that are like, I've been kicked in the, whatever, I can't do it. I'm just going to go huddle in my bedroom and watch Netflix for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and I just got to get my mojo back. Claim unemployment on yourself. Option one. Now, with these guys out here, and I'll joke around with Josh and Lisa, they're a great couple. I love them. And Josh and Lisa, one of the strategies we've been doing for years, and I do it with my wife, Jennifer, I got my little S Corp. And for any of you out there that have put your spouse on payroll, and the reason we would do that is because I want my spouse to fund the little 401k. So I can take my commissions, pay my spouse, wipe out their W-2, get a write-off, and fund a 401k, and go out and buy a rental property with a 401k. Boom! I've been teaching that for years. Now, for those of you that might have a spouse on payroll in the last 8 months, last year, essentially your 941 for last year, you may want to send your spouse over to unemployment. Now, this is an important consideration. You're talking 600 Fed per week plus the state, which could be up to 550. That's 1,050 that's 1,150 a week, over 4,000 a month for up to 12 weeks. Holy crap. That's a lot better than fiddling around with the PPP maybe. But you got to make sure you can qualify for the PPP. So in this situation, you do the PPP, but then you add a family member. Maybe it's your mom, maybe it's your dad, maybe it's your spouse, your teenagers. I don't know, but you got to make sure you don't jack up your 75% threshold. But I've got clients pushing people on unemployment, meanwhile getting the PPP and doing a balancing act and getting a lot of money for it. The emergency paid sick leave is 2 weeks of coverage. I got a client that just said, I'm going to put my spouse on emergency paid sick leave, get the PPP, then drop my spouse on unemployment and use the PPP for everybody else and give myself a bonus. So now we're double dipping. We're getting unemployment and the paid sick leave for 2 weeks. That's an option.
That's
Depends on your
creative.
situation. Last option, let me just throw out an option 3. And this is what my tax attorneys are doing on the phone. Where do you live? How much money did you make? Are you an S Corp? Are you a sole proprietor? Are you an LLC? Are you married? Are you single? And so we try to figure out the best way here. But another option, this would be 3. You say, I'm going to do the PPP. I can't get my spouse on unemployment because I didn't pay him last year, but I paid him this year. First quarter was going pretty good until this freaking train wreck. So I'm going to put my spouse on emergency paid sick leave for 2 weeks. Then I'm going to drop him or her onto family medical leave for 10 weeks. And I backdoor your spouse into payroll in the first 2 weeks of April. And this can pay out an average of 12 grand to 15 is what I'm seeing. And you still do the PPP. So that's a triple.
Mark, this may be a tough question, but we get this a lot. We've got it here too. Somebody wants to file for unemployment, but they're very like, real estate is different, right? Like you get something into escrow and then you hope that it closes and you don't know exactly when it closes. You think you know when it's going to close. And so we're hearing this, right, Tristan, from like a lot of agents where they're like, I want to submit for unemployment and allowing now us 1099ers to have unemployment, and they've extended the benefit and it's $600 a week, and that's great. But I may get a commission check that rolls in, and they're worried about like fraud and am I committing fraud? And this is a common question we get. I'm sorry to ask it because it's a tough one.
It's a tough one. Let me say this. If you're truly unemployed, you quit knocking doors and making calls, and there's this closing sitting out there. You don't know if it's 3 weeks or 6 or 8 weeks out, and you hang up and go get unemployment. You're not committing fraud. You hung up your hat. You're not working anymore. All the work you did to get that closing in the pipeline is over. When the closing comes through and gets paid, you go off unemployment. You just drop off, and that's okay. No fraud. But if you keep collecting unemployment and keep that commission, now we're talking fraud. So when that commission comes, you're like, hey, I'm off unemployment. I made my commission. Now here's another question I saw pop up. You can do an idle on your rental property. Don't do the PPP on your sole prop and claim unemployment. Now, we don't know how idle's going to play out over the next 10 days. But right now, I put in my app for idle. By the way, some of you are like, well, I applied for idle a week ago. I went to the SBA, asked them, talked to them. They said, if you haven't got an email in 4 days, go reapply. I've applied twice for the idle. Go get the idle, claim unemployment, no PPP. But you can't go get a job. You can't go get a W-2 somewhere or get a closing. Then you got to drop off unemployment.
All right. That makes sense to me. I have a specific question here from Rhonda, who asked towards the beginning, and I wanted to ask you here. She says, I have been a real estate agent for the last 5 years, working for other brokers and getting my commission paid to my C Corp. On December 23rd, 2019, I started my own brokerage. I have 2 agents now who will be getting 1099s at the end of this year. Do I qualify for any of the loans?
Only on your payroll, not your agents, because they're subs. And we need to have a consultation on the C Corp. In my book, I've got several of my books around. You can go over to Amazon. I got 6 books out on Amazon. No one else has written more on these topics than me in America. I'm out there, people. I'm legit. Please give me a shot. But in my books, I contrast the C Corp and the S Corp. Get a second opinion on that. Number 2, look at your payroll for last year, and that's what your PPP is. But your new agents are not going to help you qualify. Now, someone said, I saw the little chat, and if some of you don't agree with what I'm saying, again, I'm trying to answer general questions, and everybody's situation is a little different. So be patient. Don't be a hater. I'm just trying to help out. But now someone I saw down there said, well, hold it. Aren't you off unemployment when you make money? Just because you got a commission doesn't mean I made money, because I have expenses. This is why many sole proprietors are never allowed unemployment, but this new law allows it. Because think about it. You're like, well, I didn't make any profit. And you kind of game the system. States don't allow that. The only people that can get unemployment in the past were with W-2s, right? You have to get a W-2, prove you work there, how much and how long, then you get unemployment. Could sole proprietors, LLCs go get unemployment? No. Could you, with an S Corp owner, go get unemployment? No. You can't claim unemployment on yourself. But now with this law, they freaking take the top off and go, yep, we're going to let you guys in the party. What the hell? We've never even seen the application for this. So you're saying, well, Mark, if I got a commission, I didn't make money. Yeah, that's going to fly because you're still working the biz. I don't know. I'm just telling you, it's just a tricky thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, that's probably one of the most asked questions right here that I'm seeing. It all has to do with unemployment. So, Howard, am I missing anything on the unemployment that went through here?
Look, I think it's, because it's such a foreign thing, right? We've We've got new agents here. We've got agents who've been around for 2 years. We've got agents who've been around for 20 years. Never before have we ever seen a 1099 person, a sole proprietor, an agent be able to file for unemployment. So they're confused. They don't know where to do it, how to do it. They're having connection problems. They're worried about commission checks coming in. But Mark is like dead on. Here's the tricky part, right? As I sit back, look, I'm like you guys in the audience. I'm a layperson here. I'm not an expert like Mark. You know, I've had to become an expert more on the PPP than anything else because it means $1 million of completely forgiven money to us. And it's critical for us. We haven't fired a single person. We haven't laid off a single person. It's what the PPP was designed for. But as we've gotten into this, Tristan, and doing these webinars, man, we got 1,000 questions and we apologize. We can't answer all these questions because everyone's got these different situations. And I got a wife who's a W-2 and I'm a 1099 and I got an LLC and I got a rental property there and all that. And so all we can tell you is Mark's company is amazing, but they can't handle all you guys, right? You're really going to have to talk to a professional. Like that's the critical thing. Mark, go ahead, jump in there.
Can I jump in real quick too? And Howard, great comments. I love you guys. And I'm okay for a little bit longer if we're okay for just a few more minutes.
I'm okay a little bit. One question though in between. There are a few people who keep on saying they were denied unemployment. Do you know why that would be by any chance? Just in general, any reasons you think they could be denied? Right. I'm sure every case is different, but.
Yeah, let's talk. And I saw some questions down there of how much can I get for unemployment? Should I close my deal first, then do unemployment? And then I have retirement income and rental income. Let me take the low-hanging fruit. You can have unemployment and rental income or retirement income because that's passive. That's the same theory with disability. I can be on disability and get rent and retirement. But if I have earned income, I'm going to have a problem. Number two, some of you might say, well, I'm going to close my deal first, then go claim unemployment because I don't have anything else in the pipe. Sounds good. I'm good with that. You may even want to apply for the PPP, close the deal, pay yourself out of the closing, wipe the PPP out, then go claim unemployment. See the timing?
Yeah, it's all about timing right there.
It's timing, right? Okay, someone said, okay, how much? And how do I qualify? Every state is a little different. Now, they said in the bill, if you're a small business owner and you want unemployment, you can have it. But you have to remember, what does this mean? It means your business is dead. Dead. There's nothing there. Number two, you can't have a side job driving Uber. That's working. You can't have a W-2 doing landscaping over here. That's employment. So when you say, and I don't know that person on here that said, I didn't get unemployment. If you checked any box that said you had any other sources of income, you're not going to get it, right? So you got to be able to say, I'm done. So some of you that have a closing in the pipe, maybe wait, get the PPP, freaking do it, then go PPP, then go unemployment.
Yeah, look, one of the issues is that, you know, with PPP and with EIDL, we can figure out these rules and how it works and all that because it's a national program. The problem you have with unemployment insurance is it's state by state. If we look at some of these comments, Mark, we've got someone who says on the CAR website, they keep saying that they aren't ready. The state isn't ready for the independence. Someone else just said something that blew my mind here. New Jersey Unemployment Bureau states that self-employed workers must file, then be denied, and then will be reviewed. Like how crazy
is that?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Now, I saw a couple other comments there. People said, someone said, what is EIDL? Bless your heart, go back and watch part 1 of this, get a bowl of popcorn and a Diet Coke. I wore a smoking jacket in the first one. I thought I looked pretty good. You might enjoy it.
Great.
Now,
EIDL's economic injury disaster loan.
Yeah. There's your economic injury watching me do this. You're like, this is blowing my brain. You're going to get a personal injury claim of, mental pain from going through this. Okay.
I have one question that just never came up between this one and the previous one. What about profit share? Does that count for?
No, and someone asked, how do you pay yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. People, profit sharing is an employee type concept. So for those of you out there that have an S Corp and those of you that have a sole proprietor, let's contrast the two. If you want to take some of the PPP money, give yourself a W-2. And someone asked, how do you pay yourself? I'm a sole proprietor. You put the money in the account, you pay some bills, you write yourself a check. That's how you pay yourself. That's it. You don't have to issue yourself a W-2 because you're a sole prop. You're good. You're just going to have to document, I paid myself. Going and pay your cell phone bill is not paying yourself. That's why at the beginning of this, I said, having a separate bank account and really getting tight on your books. And this is your time for you realtors to kind of, this is your intervention. You know, this is your time to freaking go, I got to get my shiz together with my books. And it's okay. It's going to bless you down the road. People, you can't put new wine in old bottles. Let me quote the infamous Kevin Costner. If you build it, they will come. And I mean that. Let me ask you this. You guys answer this. Do your organized realtors make more money or less money than the disorganized realtor? You guys know the answer. Okay, so for those of you that want to pay yourself and drop money in a SEP, that's kind of profit sharing for a small business owner. With his S Corp, we're talking 401k, and profit sharing is going to be the match. Really, profit sharing, if your spouse, if you have a day job with profit sharing and a W-2 and all that, I don't know where you're going with the question, but that'd be a W-2 situation, and I don't see unemployment in your horizon.
All right, good.
I always saw unemployment in Josh's horizon, but he's been able to avoid it for a long time, so I don't know.
Good job, Josh.
Hey, Mark, so on the Family Medical Leave Act, you know, what are the steps for that? So I've got my assistant, she has to be home with her kids right now. So what do I do?
Okay, so the Family Medical Leave Act is, and I'm going to contrast the two because they're really related. There's emergency paid.
Mark, while you're drawing, I want to give everybody really important advice. This is whether you're looking for information about the PPP, looking for information about EIDL, looking for information about your state's unemployment, looking for information about anything. What you have to do, if you're on your desktop, you go to Google and you're searching PPP or EIDL or unemployment or whatever it is, go to tools, all right? Go to tools and literally search on the last, start with your search on the last 24 hours, okay? As a setting for your search, because all of this stuff we've seen is changing so quickly. I was just talking to my SBA lender, and they're like, they've just asked for more documentation than they were asking for literally last week, right? Mm-hmm. We got to get a certificate of good standing, and they want something else.
Oh
right?
my gosh! You got to be kidding me!
Front and back of your driver's license, right? So literally, whether you're on your phone, okay, or you're on your desktop, and slightly have a different way to do that, okay, on your phone, on Google, search tools, all right, limit it, try the last 24 hours. If not, try the last week. It's changing so quickly, guys. You literally can't look at stuff that's March 20th anymore.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, we're going to just do a few more questions. Now, for you independent contractors, don't go anywhere. I want to give you some final kind of shot in the arm, go team advice here. Simplify down a few easy steps to do tomorrow or tonight. But for some of you out there that have employees, maybe even your spouse or children or a parent, if you are actually processing W-2s for someone in your family or not, now we're talking about emergency paid sick leave and family medical leave. Now, in my article, which these guys have, we put it down in the chat line before, we should link it and put it back again, 8 steps to take advantage of the stimulus package. It's on the homepage of Entrepreneur most of the days. It's one of their top articles right now. But in this, I have the 6 ways you qualify for emergency paid sick leave. And you want to make sure your family member or your employee qualifies under one of these 6 ways. And Josh, why do I bring this up? Because this is the first 2 weeks. Because if your employee says, oh, I got to go home to take care of my kids, we might be able to get them 100% pay completely reimbursed by the federal government to you. Then the next 10 weeks, they come over here and get 2/3 of their pay. So, and this is really easy to qualify. I got to go home and take care of someone. Done. Here, you got to say, well, I was quarantined, or someone was sick, or I was sick, or blah, blah, blah. But there's 2/3 or 4, 5, 6. I want you qualifying in the first 3, then jumping over to family medical leave for the next 10 weeks. Now, you can do this for just 12 weeks and skip this whole thing if you want. And you could do it after the PPP or after, but you can't do it unemployment after this. You have to, because people have to be able to come back and get their job. So I don't know, that helps. I got 2 sections in that article, Josh, and I go through the numbers and the whole 9 yards.
Mark, can you send those over to us and we'll email those over when the recording is done? One question.
Oh, all these notes?
No, the
article.
The blog, the article.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I can text it to you over
What are you using right now to connect to your screen? I think it's an iPad, and then are you using a specific app or just AirPlay?
Oh yeah, it's you're nice. I'm just using AirPlay and this little notes icon, you know. I'm just freaking
easy.
going.
That's how he's doing it, guys. I had a couple of questions in the audience for that.
And you know what? I went out, just a little tip, because this is what I talk about in my business podcast. I love saving money. I love write-offs. This whole thing, 100% write-off. I even had to buy a drone so I could fly over my rental properties and check the roofs.
Anyway,
so people
you hear that, Howard?
I did.
So here's the thing. I was going to go out and buy one of these electronic boards. They're like $2,500. So all I did was buy an iPad, and I got the Apple TV, the little box, and I got this stand at Walmart is $80. And this was just a $200 monitor screen at Walmart. So I got this at Walmart for under $300, maybe $350. Got the Apple TV for $100. Got an iPad. I already had one iPad, but it kind of sucked. And so now I can do this on all my webinars. Anyway, and presentations.
Easy. That's beautiful.
I love saving money.
One question on processes. I have a few questions actually on this. Do you usually go this route? PPP, EIDL, and then unemployment, or is it, what would you recommend? Is there a specific order?
Well, okay, so maybe this is the rah conclusion too. Everybody, here's the deal. And I like Tristan just kind of teed this up. Number one, anybody out there with rental property or a sole proprietorship or both or multiple businesses, under each EIN, go to sba.gov and apply for the EIDL. Who knows if you'll get it? It's still a crapshoot, but it's worth the try. Every 4 days, keep applying. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. Keep putting that EIDL application in. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't need a banker. Just get your EINs under each one of your businesses. And if all you have is a sole proprietor, apply under your social security number. Number two, all of you out there need to decide, is my business a wipeout or am I going to try and save it? And when I say wipeout, what I mean is for the next 3 months, it's a wipeout. If it's a wipeout and you're not going to knock doors, you're not going to get a W-2, you're not going to drive an Uber, you're not going to make any money, and you're a sole prop and that you're not making any money, I'd probably say go look hard at unemployment. Find out what forms you need for the state. You're going to need your 2019 tax return probably. But go in and apply and say, I'm a sole prop, I deserve this. The income is going to range from $250 to $550 per week in different states. The federal $600, you don't have to apply for it separate. It just pops in. It's good for the next 12 weeks up till the end of July. Any of you that are already on unemployment, the $600 a week pops right in as soon as it's approved. If you say, I'm going to go, let's do this on a little flow chart. This is going to be fun. So number one, EIDL. So you're going to go apply for the EIDL and you're going to do that. Then you're going to do a fork in the road. You're going to go, should I do unemployment for myself, or should I go do the PPP? And this is when you're going to decide, is my business viable or not?
Ooh, it's like choose your own adventure. I love it.
Yeah. Now, if you do unemployment, that means you can't do paid sick leave. You can't do FLMA. You're not going to do, you're still going to get your stimulus check. We got the stimulus checks going out, people. That's good. But you're not going to do any of this other crap. And you're not going to do a PPP. Now, for those of you that go down the PPP route, you're going to say, down the road, do I survive? Or do I claim unemployment when this is all over in 8 weeks? So you could kind of reevaluate. And I'm doing this on the fly, guys, so forgive me. If you think you're going to survive and things look good, are you going to say, should my spouse or my kids go do paid sick leave or FLMA or unemployment? So you kind of got this, but everybody out there, get your stimulus check. Let me make this point. For those of you that have not filed your 2019 tax return, you're also motivated to do that because you can put your banking information in on the tax return, and you're going to get your stimulus money faster. Also, I've got clients that were divorced last year. They need to get their tax return in so they can get their own stimulus check. People that moved, your address is jacked up at the IRS. So the sooner you file, for some of you that have simple returns, the better. Now, for you business owners out there, you can get the PPP and the EIDL without a 2019 return. That's okay. See, this is, again, having a little more formal structure. You're fast-tracked. But for you sole proprietors, it's a little longer line of unemployment. It's a pain in the A for the PPP. You're just going to have to get your tax returns done. So, all right, there's some thoughts. But people, don't give up. Keep following these little classes and webinars and Facebooks. I'll be around. Sign up for the newsletter. I've got a little educational quarantine special on my website for 99 bucks with all sorts of longer videos on this and more. It's a lifetime. I do it normally for like $900, but is this during the quarantine only? So there's little things there you can keep studying up. Anyway, I don't know. Tristan, Howard, Josh, any final words?
We'll wrap it up, but Mark, there's a couple of questions as to how do people get to the front of the line to talk to you or to somebody at your
I pay the big money.
No,
I thought that was
someone
funny.
called the other day. It was so flattering. They're like, I'll pay Mark double his rate. I just need an hour. And I was like, no, I'd never do that. I wouldn't. I mean, maybe for these three guys, I'd take it, but not for.
Oh, man.
But
funny.
I'm trying. My wife has about had it with me. She's like, I snuck away Saturday morning and did a call, and she's like, seriously, and then Sunday afternoon I was on a call. I'm trying to do my best. Here's what I would say. If you go to the office, call our number, our retainer is $300, and that's with any of the tax lawyers that know what they're doing. You try to go out and hire a tax lawyer for $300 an hour, you can't find it. And we're a small business Main Street firm. All my tax lawyers have been hand trained by me. They're awesome, $300. Get in line, get an appointment. We have a little waiting list. And my secretary is like, Mark, can you take any today? And she goes, this person specifically asked for you. Can I move him in? I'll say, yeah, I'll take an hour this afternoon. So I'm trying to squeeze in when I can. So get in the lineup, and then I'll try and just tell them I really want Mark or whatever, and I'll do my best. I really appreciate that.
What I would say, guys, because I'm like you guys. I've got accountants and I've got lawyers and advisors and we've got bankers, all this stuff, right? And so again, it's what I'm saying on every single webinar. What we do today lives in eternity. And if you can't get your accountant on the phone, right? And if you can get them on the phone and they don't have Mark's expertise, you are with the wrong accountant, right? And so you're gonna need to make a change now. You need to make a change quickly. I gotta run to my next meeting. My parting shot is one for everybody in this community. It's a little bit off subject. For everybody in this community, I am guaranteeing you things look bleak, They look tough. This is going to be a rough ride, but I am telling you, cultivate today, conquer tomorrow. Things are going to be incredible when we get out of this. The economy underneath before this virus was great. Okay, we've got over 1 million units that are pent up that are going to happen, transactions. You guys got to be there, grab your market share. Things are going to zoom after this. Prices could come down, they can go up. Who cares? You guys, we're going to do deals. We're going to do transactions. Go ahead, Mark.
No, Howard, I want to piggyback what Howard just said. Just because you go out, I just got chills to say this, a little inspiration. Oh, okay, just because you're claiming unemployment doesn't mean you don't work on your marketing plan, your networking, your website that you've been dying to work on, your business card, your logo, networking, your marketing plan. I said networking twice, maybe for a reason, but you're not totally out of the loop. You're just sitting back, poised, ready, because there's going to be an onslaught of real estate transactions that are pent up, and you can either be in the game or out. So if you go on unemployment, it doesn't mean you just turn into a vegetable and eat Fruit Loops every day. Keep on your game. Keep studying, keep learning, watching my vids and reading my books and read every good book you can out there. Get sharp and be ready.
And if you go to Wailopo.com, you do not have to be a client. You don't ever have to become a client, but we have a whole resources page, a media center, all the amazing webcasts, webinars, podcasts. We literally have stuff that will show you exactly how to deal with a buyer completely virtually and how to deal with a seller totally virtually if they want to be completely physically distanced. There's a lot of resources on the page. Dig into it. It's all free. I want to thank Josh for connecting Mark with Tristan and the Lab Coat community. I want to thank Tristan as the leader and founder, of Lab Coat for not only bringing on Mark once, but bringing on Mark twice, and I'm sure he'll bring him on again. Tristan, it just shows how much you care about every agent, whether they're an agent, small team, medium team, large team, broker, it doesn't matter. You care about our community, so thank you, thank you, thank you. And Mark, thanks, man. We know every single minute you're on with us literally costs you time and money, and you're giving back, and it's really just an amazing thing you're doing for all of us.
Thank you so much. And let me say one last thing. I've got a text loop with 10 attorneys and CPAs. And every time we see a news bulletin, a new little technique or strategy, we're sharing it. This scroll, it was blowing up this morning on a Monday morning. And the one comment that has just recurred with 2 or 3 consults with clients is people are waiting. Now, this is so important for you, last group that's on this call, that are waiting for our appointment before they apply for the PPP. Do not do that. Go find that banker. Start filling out the app. A lot of times like like Howard, he applied a week ago and the banker's still asking for crap.
Dude, my PPP story is crazy. I applied all over the place. And I literally today, this is crazy. One bank that just basically said, we're going to go get a number from the SBA because Howard's got a big old number. We're going to go grab and reserve that funds, even though they didn't have all my documents. Another bank that was very sort of, Midwest, very buttoned down, like, we're not going to go contact the SBA until we've got every single little thing. And Howard's been through quality control at our bank. And guess what? They then went to the SBA to get a number for me. And the SBA is only going to give out one number. They're not going to do it to multiple banks. Very important to know. And they couldn't. They got blocked, Mark, because the other bank went and grabbed and got my number. They've got literally, I believe, 10 days now. The clock is ticking. Once they grab my number, they got to get that loan done.
Yeah, Tristan, one more thing, please, please, please. Let me say this. I'm seeing the notes. Now, Kristen down there, or Christy, made an important point. To go apply for your PPP, if you're a sole proprietor, 1099, which these guys, 90% of the people out there today are, you cannot apply for your PPP until your 2019 taxes are done. So for some of you, you're going to make an appointment with your professional, maybe with my office, whatever. Number 2, get into your accountant or go to freaking TurboTax, TaxSlayer, H&R Block, Liberty Tax. I do not care. We could amend it later if we have to. But get your freaking tax return for 2019 done. Then walk into the bank and say, I want to get my application in. Meanwhile, we're going to have a call somewhere in the mix of all that. But don't wait for our call because, again, there's so many moving parts. You want to start some of this. And also someone was saying, should I do this before the PPP and EIDL? Get your taxes done. And that should have been on the first thing on our little list. EIDL was number 1, taxes done if you're a sole prop. That's got to be number one on your list. And I apologize for not doing that first. Okay, Tristan, I'll shut up. Sorry.
No, man, that was awesome. I mean,
I'm working on my chocolate Twinkie.
I love it. You finally got to it. Howard, thank you. Obviously, Howard's the CEO of Ylopo. Guys, visit Ylopo. We're still pouring money into Facebook lead ads and Google PPC with them. They're amazing out there. They're always innovating, always bringing the best to us. And that's where we're closing most of our transactions. So thank you, Howard, for pushing the innovation and for being available to all of us. Josh, if you have any referrals to Josh, he's out of Newport Beach and he's still handling luxury properties out there. Thank you, Josh, for the connection to Mark. And obviously, Mark, thank you for putting on this amazing information and show. I love how you do both. Very entertaining and very informative. Mark, I think we're going to make it a ritual until we're out of this. So let's have you back on for like part 3, 4, 5, and 6.
I'd love it. Thank you.
You know, Mark, Tristan and I are going to be starting once this pandemic is over. We're starting a radio show. What's it called, Tristan?
It's called Lit
with Leaders.
Yeah, Lit with Leaders.
Lit with Leaders. I mean, enlightening, right? But we're actually going to drink a little bit, maybe have some espresso, throw back some beers and stuff. We're going to have you on. We're going to get you a little pump, and then we'll see. Then we'll see some good stuff.
That would be fun.
I love it.
Anyways, guys, go to the Lab Coat Agents YouTube page. We're recording this, and we're going to have this up. And go to visit Ylopo. Mark, once again, I put up your number up there, so just in case anybody needs it, they can give your office a call. Guys, any questions you have, feel free to reach out to any of us. Thank you for being here, everybody.
Thanks for
I
having me.
appreciate your time.
Thanks, Josh. Love you.
All right. See you guys. Thank you.
Howard. Thanks, Tristan.